All right, today we're diving into a little mystery. But this isn't some whodunit in a dark alley. Nope, this one unfolds in a backyard garden. It's a fantastic little story about curiosity, about paying attention, and, the thrill of finding something unknown right under your own nose.
So it all starts with this, a really simple, relatable confession from a gardener named Ang. And that right there, that's our central puzzle. It's that feeling, when you see something and it's so unique, but you just can't quite put a name to it. And that, right there, is where our investigation kicks off.
So, let's really treat this like a detective case, shall we? Our subject is this mystery plant, spotted but totally unidentified. And our mission is to follow the clues, step by step, right there alongside our gardener, Ang.
Okay, so any good investigation starts with just looking closely. And here are our first clues. The plant has these small, kind of long leaves, but the real standout feature? A bold white stripe running right down the center. This immediately leads Ang to a first guess. It's got to be some kind of variegated plant.
So, what does variegated actually mean? It's a key term for our case. All it means is that the leaves have different colored zones on them. Like that really obvious white stripe. This is Ang's main lead, the clue that helps narrow down the list of suspects.
But just looking at it is one thing. A real investigation? That takes action. You can't solve a mystery from way across the yard. Nope, it's time to actually start collecting some evidence.
And check this out, it's a super simple scientific process. You don't need some high-tech lab for this. First, you secure your evidence. You take a sample. Second, you put it in a controlled environment, which in this case is just a simple pot. And third, you just watch, patiently.
And here we go, our first bit of good news. The plant has settled in just fine. Now, this is actually really important. It means that any behavior we see from now on is probably the plant's true nature, not just a reaction to the stress of being moved. Our subject is stable. The real work can begin.
Okay, now that our plan is all settled in, the real observation starts. And this is where our first really interesting, kind of puzzling clue starts to show up. The kind of detail you only notice when you're really paying attention.
And there it is. The plant's growth is, as Ang puts it, quite slow. Now I know, that might not sound like some dramatic breakthrough, but in an investigation, every little piece of data matters. So, what could this mean? Is the plant having a hard time, or is this actually a clue to its real identity?
And this is where a key connection gets made. Ang compares the plant's growth in the pot to how it was growing out in the wild. And the result? It's a perfect match. A sluggish pace in both places.
This is where we get to play detective, right? We've got this one solid piece of evidence. Slow growth, no matter where it is. So what can we figure out from that? What does this single, consistent behavior tell us about what this mystery plant is all about?
Well, it leads to the most logical idea. The slow growth, it's not a symptom of a problem, it's just a core characteristic. It's not struggling, it's just taking its sweet time. And that simple realization, it changes the whole direction of the investigation.
But one clue never solves the whole case. In science, one answer usually just leads to way more interesting questions. So this investigation isn't over. Really, it's just getting started. So, where does our botanical detective go from here? The plan is pretty clear. First, keep watching that original sample. But second, you gotta expand the operation. Go get more evidence, more samples, and then start testing them under different conditions. See how they do. The more data you have, the clearer the picture becomes.
Ang's sign-off just says it all. Till the next post, this isn't case closed. Not at all. It just perfectly captures that true spirit of discovery. It's always an ongoing journey, not some final destination.
When you get right down to it, the real lesson here isn't about identifying one particular plant. It's that true discovery is rarely some big, loud eureka moment. Way more often, it's the quiet, steady process of just being patient and observant. The kind of focus that keeps us from jumping to the wrong conclusions.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. This whole investigation started just by looking a little bit closer at something ordinary. It kind of makes you wonder, what small mysteries, what undiscovered stories are just waiting to be noticed right in your own backyard?